All right, this hangout is live and it is exactly noon. And I teach time management, so I never like to be late. I always like to be there on time and always the right time. Hey, it's exciting to have you here on today's hangout because today we're going to talk about this sales puzzle. Yeah, that's sales puzzle. How do we put that thing together? But before we get there, let me just do the housekeeping that I always like to do at the beginning. First of all, I'm excited to have you here today because we are rocking and rolling with our double your sales process. We are helping companies out there every day to fit a process together that works. And every Friday, of course, we're here to share with you. And today I even have the jacket on and the shirt. I know it's a little different from me in most cases, but I am excited to have you guys and gals here with us today as we try to put that puzzle together every Friday. And we got a couple of really exciting shows after today. Next week, our special guest is going to be Janet Garrity. And if you saw her at the boot camp, I know you're excited. She's going to be my guest here. And we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We're just going to talk about that whole social media thing from a standpoint of how do you write for it, what's proper, what's not proper, what should we be talking about. Janet's just an array of information. And then the week after that, in 2 weeks, we have Howard Yermish here. And we offered his course last week. For those of you, I hope some of you picked that up. We going to have Howard here live talking about how to pick through the social media stuff and pick the right ones that you need. So we got some more people that I'm working on right now. We are going to blast you with information and great guests on here. But sometimes I got to teach, and because I don't have a good guest today. But I wanted to pick something great to talk about, and the sales puzzle is really what we're focused on today. Don't forget, sign up every week for this session. It's 30 minutes. And if you miss it or you got to go out on our YouTube channel. The recording is usually out there for you to watch. So I have all these things. What are these things? They're puzzle pieces, right? And what happens in most cases is we try to put the puzzle. Each one of these represents perhaps something in the marketing and sales arena. And whether we try to put them together, and sometimes we get real good and we say, oh man, I've been able to put my lead generation and my follow-up together. And then other times we get some weird looking pieces like this and we say, geez, that doesn't even look like it comes from the same puzzle. Yet somebody told me I need to use that. And then we try to get some other ones here. And this one doesn't look like it fits. And then, we get frustrated and we just drop them. But if we put all those pieces together correctly and we put them together the way we're supposed to, not all over the floor, now I got to get them puzzles back to my grandkids. What happens when we put them puzzle pieces together correctly? We have a process that can double your sales. And that's kind of what we're going to run you briefly through today. Got a special offer for you at the back end, like we always try to do. So let's talk about some of these puzzle pieces that we're trying to put together. The first one here, and yes, I like to do the quick art like this because I think it's better than I don't like PowerPoint slides that much. I like to just do something, and yeah, we'll get better as we go along. The target market is one of those pieces in the puzzle that you kind of got to put together. And people have a hard time with target market. It's why when you come through my process of double your sales, I always start there because you got to know, who am I going after? And you got to really understand who is that audience. So we run you through a whole process that helps you understand, okay, my target market is A. And if I do what I'm supposed to, and I put that to go after the right people, I'm going to make money. And I think so many times people are afraid. They're afraid that gee, I can't really limit my marketing, instead of thinking I can't really expand my marketing by putting all my dollars, efforts, and time into the right pieces. So you have to define target market. And target market is nothing more than what type of companies, where are they, how big are they, who are you going after, that whole array of stuff. And we actually take you through that because we believe the most important thing is I got to know who I'm going after. And I'll tell you the truth, so many small companies out there, they just don't know. And they're going after everybody and they're choking because first of all, you don't have the resources to go after everyone. And second of all, nobody remembers you because you're trying to, it's like you're this little dot in this giant picture. All right, the second part of the puzzle. So we got this piece over here called target market, and then we have the next piece, which is called product. What is the product that you're selling? And again, people say, well, I know what I sell. I've been selling the same thing for a long time. I know what I sell. But do you? Do you really have it? Do you know what product is in terms that your potential buyers understand? In other words, when I talk to you, do I really know what you sell? Do I understand what it is, who uses it, how it might benefit me? And if you tell me you sell insurance, that tells me absolutely nothing. Just like if I went in there and I told you my product's coaching. Okay, well, what the heck does that mean, Manny? I don't really understand what you're saying. So we teach you how to package and how to really take everything you sell and let's bring it down. What's the thing that you use to open the door? What's the thing that you use to really get into a client and then expand? We have a new course called Double Your Sales. It's one of the things we use to move ourselves into companies because it's a great product for you to learn what you need to do. And then if you don't want to do it, then you can call us and we'll help you. But product is so critical. So one of the things we do in a Double Your Sales process is we actually help you build the main products and then the auxiliary products. And then what we do is we put the two together, and now products, you see, and it was supposed to work, but it's not going to work because I didn't cut it out right. But when I put target market and products together, I've got the first two pieces I need to effectively sell. Okay, so now I know who I'm going after. I know what I'm going to sell them. And in comes the third piece of that marketing and sales puzzle, which is lead generation. How am I going to get people to take a look? How am I going to get to the prospects? How am I going to let people know this is me? You need to think about me when you think about that. How am I going to get to those people who are thinking about maybe they need what I have today? That's the next piece we go after. And we use what's called a 5x5 process, which is in our process, I think we have identified somewhere between 40 and 50 different methodologies and methods for generating leads. And you could use them all. And you know, probably out there, you're getting bombarded continuously, week in, week out, all the time. Why don't you try this? Why don't you use this? Why don't you do social media? Why don't you do cold calls? Why don't you do networking? And you're like, ah! And I've had people really get there because they don't know what they should be doing for lead generation. So what we help you identify is five of the 5 hottest, most critical things that you need to generate leads. And that's where you're going to put your major effort. And your minor effort then goes into a second 5. Now, these are, if you do, these things are all exhausted or you don't have anything to do, then you go to the second 5. So that gives you 10 methods for lead generation. And when someone comes along and says, hey, Manny, did you try this? You got to try this. Why don't you do this? You say, look, this is my plan. And I'm at least for a while, until I prove it can't work, I'm going to stick with it. So again, we take this, we add it to our target, we add it to our product, and guess what? Our puzzle is coming together. Isn't that amazing? It is amazing, and we love it. So we want to thank you all for being here with us today. All right, so now that with those 3 pieces, we add piece number 4, which is qualifying. I knew I had the right word there somehow. Qualifying. How do I qualify the people out there? So many salespeople, and I gotta admit this to you, so many salespeople out there are burning themselves out, or burning their energy out, going after people who are never going to buy, who are not qualified, who are nowhere near the right people, who are just not who we need to buy. And that's why we take you through a process in our course, which is how do I sort this thing out so that what I have over here in the puzzle is the people who can buy, want to buy, are qualified to buy, have the money to buy, have all those key elements, and we're not spinning our wheels. Again, so many times people out there spend their time, money, effort, and energy going after people who never can, will, or never are going to buy. So qualification is so key. Now, guess what we have now? We've got gone after the right target. We're using the right product. We're generating leads. And then we're taking those leads and we're qualifying. Wow. If you do nothing but that, if you did nothing but that, you'd already be so far ahead of where you're at that it would be amazing. Just simply amazing. I mean, we're just happy that you're listening today. All right. Okay. Now, however, the next piece probably becomes a piece that many people do stop there, and it is a start, but they missed this piece, which I've wrote a book on, which I'm writing some more stuff on now, and it's called Follow Up. And I'm actually going to be speaking on follow up. Where are we? Oh, I think this is what we're going to be talking about on Carol Ann's what is it? Yeah, teleseminar. It's going to be an event with a bunch of us, and I'm going to be talking about follow up. We'll tell you more about that in the next few weeks. But follow up, this is where people die. It's like, okay, we spent all that time. We got you the leads. We even qualified them. But now, what am I going to do to turn them from leads and from suspects to prospects into closed deals? Because guess what? That is really what I'm after, and that is really where I want to go. And so, how do I do that? What are some of the things? Do I build a campaign? I mean, what do you do? And I love to ask this question because I wrote the book called My Sales Follow-Up Sucks. And really in the book, we talk about all the stuff that's not happening, how people are not following up. So what do you do when you meet somebody at an event? What happens to their card? Does it get thrown into this big pile? And if you look at the book, that's exactly what's on the cover. What happens? What happens to all the leads that you get? Do you call them? Do you put them into a process? Do you put them into a campaign? Campaign being nothing more than, hey, I met this person. The next step is I send them a note. The next step is I try to do a phone call. The next step is I try to sit down. What is your process? If you don't have it defined, then how are you going to effectively do follow-up? Even though you've qualified people, you've got them in there, but now you let them slide away. And nothing worse than finding out somebody that you were working. And then you talk to them and they say, oh, yeah, I already went with somebody else. I know that stabs us here, right? We're darn near the midpoint here. I just want to remind you that we're here every Friday at noon to give you this educational piece. And don't forget, next week, it's going to be Janet Garrity, and we're going to be talking about social stuff. The following week, it's going to be Howard Yermish, and we're going to be talking about social media tools. So it's just jam-packed here. We hope you can join us each and every week. And if you can't, like I said, go over to my YouTube channel and watch it because it's worth it. All right. So now let's say you get that far. Let's say you even got the follow-up rolling now. One thing that you need to learn how to do is this, guy. This is another key piece in the puzzle, is your presentation. How good are you? When you get right here in front of your client, in front of a group of people, how good are you? How good is your presentation? Do you have one of those presentations with PowerPoint that sucks? And I think that may be the next book I write. I actually need to write that down. My PowerPoint sucks. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to write that down, because I wrote the book called My Sales Follow-Up Sucks. I might write My PowerPoint Sucks next. And the reason I might write that is because continuously I go to these presentations and these people have these PowerPoint slides up and they're full of, 700 words on the slide. And I'm like, did I come here to read a book? Of course not. When are we going to learn that in today's world of fast and great graphics and all that? Put some pictures up there, will you? My gosh. One of the reasons I don't want to use PowerPoint on these presentations every Friday is because I don't want you staring at some PowerPoint. I'd rather be sitting here talking to you with some action and reaction. And when I have guests, we put them on here. If you're going to use PowerPoint, put some pictures up there, put stuff up there that really makes a difference and that shows people how good you are. All right. So you need a great presentation. That's a piece that fits into that puzzle. And so now you've got all these pieces, right? And they're all starting to fit together. And the closer they fit together, the closer you get to a process that will help you double your sales. But as one of my great mentors said and wrote a whole book on it, you can't do anything until you close. So closing becomes next. And that guy, of course, was Zig Ziglar, the king of closing business. And the bottom line is, how does closing fit in the puzzle? Do you know how to do it? Are you closing throughout the presentation? When you come to one of my events and you see me presenting a product, even on these webinars, I am really closing throughout the entire event. I'm talking about what the end product was going to be. I'm talking about what we're going to sell, but I'm not talking about it in, you really need this, or just in soft terms. You've heard me throughout this presentation talk about doubling your sales. What are we going to offer at the end? Doubling your sales? Well, we'll show you shortly. The bottom line I want you to understand during the presentation is that we got to close the business, which means you don't have any business until somebody writes the check, right? And have they written the check? If not, you got trouble. All right, next piece in that puzzle, one everybody thinks they know about, is referrals. Is your referral process? I was just working with a client this morning and we talked about referrals, and we talked about one of the things you got to do in the referral process is you got to make it so easy. You got to make it a no-brainer for the person you're asking a referral to. You've got to make it so easy that they don't have to do anything. And the process we talked about this morning was that if you're asking for a lead or you're asking for some referrals from a customer, hey, do you know anybody? I know a lot of people. I'm a busy man. I can't think right now. Instead of asking something as simple as, hey, you got two neighbors across the street here, whether they're businesses or personal. Do you know any? Could you introduce me? And a great person, I was sharing this morning, a great person will say, hey, let's go take a walk over there. I know that guy. Come on, I'll introduce you. That's referrals. And see how easy I made it for them? Easy. I'm trying to speed up here a little bit because I would like to get through all these today. The next one is CRM, or soon you're going to see that C disappear and it'll be replaced by a little X called XRM. And my good friend Brad Thornburg does a great presentation on CRM, and we're going to get ready to do some stuff on XRM. So stay tuned, and hopefully we're going to get Brad in here for one of these sessions very soon to share with you. But this is your repository. This is your guts. This is your central piece to making all the puzzle pieces work. You can think of, I put this whole puzzle together, right? And the middle piece got lost. And that's kind of what CRM is. It's the piece that ties everything together. And without CRM, you can't do campaigns. You can't do the things that are going to automate, to just set your marketing and sales on fire. And if they're not on fire, how are you going to make any money? You've got to ask yourself that, right? Next, credit and collections. Until you got some money in your pocket, it isn't a deal, is it? And so many people out there I talk to are just, they all of a sudden, you know, especially new guys, they make all these sales and they're rocking and they're gonna set the world on fire, and guess what? Nobody's paying. It's one of the most frustrating things as a small business owner we deal with out there. People aren't paying. People are paying late. People are paying when they feel like it, or they're not paying at all. So how and what is your process in this puzzle piece to get your money? Now, I don't want you to take that lightly. Look, most people take it way too lightly when I start talking about you got to collect the money. Well, I can't do this. The industry's always works this way or this. Forget it. Let me tell you, I've been through the hard road. In 2001 on 9/11, we were in a trade show industry and we died. We had so much money on the street. We had so much debt that the next day we were dead, literally. Why? Because we didn't pay attention to collecting. So I don't want you to learn it the hard way. Get your money. If you can get it up front, if you can get some of it up front, if you can get most of it up front, get it. All right. Now, then we come down to the intangibles, right? Consistency, persistence, and self-discipline. The three things you need. And actually, I want you to stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. We're going to announce it. We got a brand new book coming out. I got a brand new book coming out called exactly that, Consistency, Persistence, and Self-Discipline, where we're going to talk about, I think, 10 or 12 things that really drive the process. And you've got to consistently be working it. You've got to be persistent. I don't give up. And if you're any kind of sales guy out there, you know you're not going to give up anyway. If this is a qualified buyer, if they've matched all the puzzle pieces, you want to put that last puzzle piece together and you want to make it work. So consistency, persistence, and of course we all need that self-discipline. That self-discipline is what's going to drive it. So stay tuned. We got a whole book coming on this. But in our Double Your Sales, we really push you consistency. You know the story of consistency? That if you take $2 a day and you throw it in a jar every day, at the end of the year, you have $730. Do you think you missed that $2 a day? No, I never miss it. So consistency, persistence, and self-discipline. One more in this array. And that is motivation and personal development. All right, that's it. You've got to stay pumped up. And as I was teaching a class the other week, and they said, well, okay, we're motivated. What's personal development? Well, personal development is what keeps you motivated. If you do personal development, you'll stay motivated. If you stay motivated, you'll be able to put all the pieces together and you'll be able to make money and sales will work for you. But you need motivation and you need personal development. And you know what? People waste the greatest time they have. The greatest time, which is the time you're in your car. Are you listening to sports talk radio? Are you listening to some other junk? Or are you listening to CDs and recordings and YouTube stuff that's going to make you successful? You need to be listening to the right stuff. Don't waste that time. Personal development is what keeps you motivated. So you take all those puzzle pieces that we talked about, and they're all over the floor here, and you put them together, and what you end up with is a sales strategy. The thing that most people don't have in their company. They don't know the answer to those 12 questions. The 12 questions being, who am I going after? What am I selling? How am I generating leads? How do I present? How do I close? And that whole array that we just went through. They don't know that. They guess, and they just try to push their way through that. But a sales strategy defines all 12 of those things in a strong pattern, so you know what you need to do. And then the final thing you need is a tactical plan, which is nothing more than for every strategy, for those 12 things, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do it? What's the detail? How are we going to measure it? How are we going to make sure it gets done? What are the things that need to be done? Something as simple as networking. What events am I going? How many times a month am I networking? When it comes to lead generating, what am I doing with LinkedIn? What am I doing with Facebooks? What am I doing with cold calls? How am I measuring all that? Wow, that's the tactics that are going to actually make it work. So you put all that together, and that's what we teach you in a process called Double Your Sales. And that's what we want people to try to do. And we want you to, with these pieces intact, you can actually double your sales. And so I always like to put my website, yep, there it is, MannyNowak.com. It's very difficult to remember, right? MannyNowak.com. Go out there, look at our Double Your Sales link. Check it out. Check out the product. We got a great thing going out there right now. So if you liked what you saw today and you really said, well, I don't know if I want to invest yet. I don't know how much I want to spend. Well, guess what? We got a great process out there. Instead of spending $1,000 and buying this whole process and maybe it sits up on your shelf, guess what you can do? You can buy only 3 lessons and see what happens. And if you don't do it, then you've only wasted $250. Plus, remember, this package includes 4 30-minute sessions with me, one-on-one. So this is a great deal for you. Now, I've got even something better than you. You know, I feel like that infomercial, which I don't want to feel like. But listen, here's the email address I want you to look at, Manny@MannyNowak.com. If you send me an email within the next, let's say, by Monday, whatever Monday is, 25th? No, 18th? Whatever Monday is. I'm going to have it, 21st. If you send me something before Monday, and send me an email with the word yes in the subject, and say, I'd like to try it. What I'm going to give you is the first lesson. So send me an email with the word yes in it, and I'm going to send you a link to an hour-long lesson on how to build your target. Take a look at that. And if that doesn't convince you that, wow, we got something here, then you haven't lost anything, have you? But sales strategy is the thing missing, especially if you're a small business owner out there. You know that. So again, Manny@MannyNowak.com. Send me that email with the word yes, and we'll see what we can do. We'll get you that link. Anyhow, it's been great being here. You know, today we talked about the puzzle pieces that put your sales process together. I hope we haven't bored you too much, because I love teaching you, and I love this process because we believe, and we are seeing it work day in and day out as companies really start to take off from a sales standpoint. So again, send me that email with the word yes in the subject, and guess what? I'm going to send you a link to this hour-long recording on how to develop your target markets. Tremendous little piece. It's lesson 1 in our course, and we're going to give it to you today for nothing. Don't forget, next week, Janet Garrity will be here for a half an hour as my guest, and the week after that, we have that superstar Howard Yermish on here to talk about social media. So guess what? We're out of time. We're always running out of time as the session ends. Get out there. You need a sales strategy. If you're serious about taking your company if you're serious about building something and not just having a job working for yourself, you need a sales strategy. This is Coach Manny saying, as always, I'm excited. I'm fired up. It's the weekend. What am I going to do for work? See y'all next week, and get out there and create a better world.